Welcome to the Honor the Gift podcast. I am your host, Art McCracken. I specialize in transformational leadership and high-performance coaching. I've worked with hundreds of companies and thousands of individuals along the way, helping them achieve greater outcomes in all aspects of their life. I'm a speaker and writer, but at the end of the day, none of that holds a candle to being a husband, father, and friend. I believe the greatest gift in our mortal existence is the gift of choice. How we honor that gift will shape the eternities. I also believe that career is a way of being and not just a way of life. And when you figure that out, by learning to let go of the charades and leaning into growth, life just seems to unlock itself. I know this because I've lived it. Quite simply, my calling is people experience living true. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making the commitment to lean into growth. I honor your journey. Now, let's do this. Hello, friends. Welcome to another weekly episode. This week's topic is time. Before we get into this topic, I'd like to share a story of a gentleman that I was fortunate enough to get to know. I consider him a very dear friend, and it's somebody that's had a major impact in my life. His name is Dr. Fritz Schmutz. Some of you listening will know of this gentleman. Some of you may not. He is an interventional radiologist, and he has a tremendous backstory and history, but my history with Dr. Schmutz specifically was during a time when I was early in my college years, going to school, working on my degree, and I was working for a local hospital. And I had the opportunity of working side by side with him in the radiology department. And one specific afternoon, I was at work, and I remember he was the interventional radiologist that was actively working that day and on call, and was called in to perform an invasive procedure on a patient that was older, had presented with, I believe, some arterial clotting, and he was going to be doing a risky procedure to recover the clots, clear the arteries, and provide better flow so that this individual could sustain life. And I remember we had this back hallway in the radiology department where you had waiting, not really waiting spaces, but a lot of windows. And then when we would bring someone into the department for a procedure, we would wait outside the door of one of the procedure rooms. And usually you were there with the patient and possibly one or two family members. And I remember this specific day because I came around the corner and saw Dr. Schmutz, and he was very well known for being very kind. He has great bedside manner, but I really, truly understood the value of time, the value of a specific moment, and the value of the humility and commitment that comes with honoring someone else. And as I watched him, he was so gentle and kind with this old lady. And he shared with her a very special moment. He held her hand, he looked her in the eyes, and just I guess you would say emitted a very high level of peace to her. He was very kind, very loving, as I mentioned. And I don't know why this stood out so significantly to me at the time. It's something that I remember to this day so clearly, that I remember how kind and gentle he was with this person. And I remember he was holding her hand, and he knelt down and he said a prayer with her, and just, gave her a hug, brushed her hair back, was just so gentle. in that moment that was obviously one of anxiety and very heavy with fear for this older lady. And he was just so gentle and kind. And I think about bedside manner, and we often refer to professionals and their bedside manner. And in this moment, there was a kindness. What it showed me is that there's a kindness that's possible. And that kindness, it's gentle, it's meek, it's humble, it's without judgment. It's beautiful and so rare, and something that we can certainly aspire to, but it can and it should start today if we feel it and we want to model it. Hello, friends. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying this week's episode. If growth, personal growth and development is your thing, and you're here learning and leaning into growth, glad you're here, glad you're part of the community. If you want more of this, make sure and hit subscribe in this podcast platform or any of your favorite podcast platforms. Search for Honor the Gift podcast and make sure and subscribe so that it shows up each week with new updates, new conversations, new learning, new ideas and concepts, again, to help us all in this journey we call growth and how we make it through life and the way that we show up for others. Also, if you are looking for more information, deeper dives into some of these conversations, and just an update to stay in the loop, you can always go to choiceisthegift.com and click on subscribe, where you'll be in the loop on things that are upcoming and more updates on this podcast. Again, thank you for being here. Now let's get back to the episode. And so that leads into this topic of time. We've heard it said before, today is the first day of the rest of your life. Time is ever waning. It's an ever waning commodity that has not yet been assigned a market value because you just can't buy it. It's the same daily 24-hour allotment for each person on this planet, regardless of title or position in life. We all get time. It's here for us. It can be given and taken, but not transferred. Time can also be a vacuum. Time has no end or beginning, and certainly no certainty. Today, for me, it's wide open with possibility, yet it won't wait for me. So what do we do with time when we know it's moving quite a bit faster than we can control? What do we do to somehow prolong the wonderful and shorten the difficult? Wouldn't that be nice to be able to, again, prolong the wonderful and shorten the difficult? But the answer is we don't. We certainly don't have control over time. We have control over how we might spend our time or not spend our time, but we get the same time. So time remains a gift for the present. And it's on our shoulders to leverage and utilize when it's been given to us. It's ours to foster and build a better tomorrow with a better you and I in it. I've learned simply that our efforts are creating our tomorrow. It means that what I do with this moment right now will either honor or waste the stewardship I've been given in this life. Do I define presence in part by an awareness to honor each second? So the big question for me personally, and as I reflect back on Dr. Schmutz and time, and what I felt and what I knew was right, and what I hoped I could be someday, to be so kind and gentle and have a reverence for other human beings going through difficult times. And the answer at that time was yes, I want this, I need this, I feel this thing that feels so genuine and so kind and is such a strong example of care that the question that I beg of myself today is, am I willing to be the type of person I can be? Am I willing to have good bedside manner in life with those I serve, with those around me, with people that I've never met before? Am I kind? Am I gentle? Am I meek? Am I humble? Am I without judgment? So the question of, am I willing to spend my time wisely and in the service of others, and to truly honor that stewardship of time to where I'm making the most out of it rather than robbing it from myself and others? So I'll leave you with that question, leave you with that challenge to evaluate where you might better use your time, knowing that time will come and go regardless of our desire to control it. It keeps moving without us or with us. And so with that, remember, the growth is always a choice. Until next week, my friends, make it a great one. And remember to always honor the gift.